Right guys, welcome back to Fog Racing. You may have thought this channel was dead, but it's only Valtteri Bottas' title hopes that are dead today after he was screwed by Mercedes. It's Max Verstappen though that wins the race here, the first non-Mercedes car to win a race this season. I think a lot of people maybe predicted the worst and thought Mercedes would see it the entire season, but thankfully that wasn't the case here. And Big Max showing why he is perhaps the best driver on the grid today with a pretty, in the end, an easy win. It kind of looked like towards the end that maybe Hamilton would come back at him, but it wasn't the case. Max
14 to 1.
14 to 1, about 4 or 5 laps into the race, so if anyone was smart and stuck money on Max, then well done, you've made yourself a decent profit today. But I mean, Max definitely deserved to win the day. Mercedes struggling in the hot weather, but more importantly, Mercedes completely screwing Valtteri Bottas, the guy for pole. In my opinion, it's not right what they've done. He should have been at least second today, and well, they did their best to make sure that didn't even happen. So Mercedes starting on the medium compound tyres, they got away, began to pull away from Max, but it was about 6 laps in, you could see that Max was beginning to reel them in again on the harder compound tyre, which was letting you know that the mediums were going off already. Then Max closed up to the back of them. Max wanted to push on Hamilton, but Red Bull were pretty much telling him to take it easy. Then the Mercedes pit it, and Max managed to actually go faster than the Mercedes once they pit it, and he was on worn hard tyres compared to the Mercedes brand new hard tyres. And Max managed to get a gap big enough to pit, so he did pit. Slow stop from Red Bull, cost him to come out behind Bottas on the mediums, but I mean he passed Bottas within half a lap. And that was pretty much it. Expected him to pull away at this stage, but he didn't. Kind of just held station.
No.
And then I believe it was lap 29?
No, 30 something, 42.
Lap 32, Max comes in for the hard tyres because...
So was Bottas?
So I think it was Mercedes bringing Bottas in, which prompted Max to come in to cover him off. But in my opinion, Mercedes should have known that the way their tyre wear is, that bringing Bottas in this early was giving them no chance to win the race. And in my opinion, Mercedes they ruined Bottas' strategy to give Lewis Hamilton a better chance of winning, which in my opinion is not right. If they were going to bring in any driver early to try and force Red Bull into coming in to the pits, it should have been Hamilton because he was further back. They didn't do that, and then towards the end they pitted Lewis. He came out, obviously a lot less time to go, much fresher tyres, and he just cut through.
He got past Leclerc.
He had a harder time getting past Leclerc than he did Bottas, to be fair.
Which is a joke.
And they never even says to Bottas, look here, don't race Hamilton, and if you can't beat Max, we'll give you the position back. Never even said that. They said you're free to race. And the reason they said they're free to race is because they knew that fucking Bottas was a sitting duck. Quack, man. Bottas had no chance. And then he loses at 3 points. So he gets pole, he beats Hamilton fair and square in qualifying, but then gets shafted on the strategy and loses at 3 points in the title. So, what do you make of that?
It's just the way it is.
Just the way it is, so disappointing.
Albon 5th.
People are going to say it's a great drive, but what did he do? He overtook people that he's got a much superior car.
You could even argue it was the quickest car.
I know. I mean, you look at what Verstappen did today. How can you seriously give Albon much credit?
He got beat by a Ferrari. Vettel's done right, but it's not. The Ferrari shouldn't be where Leclerc's finishing.
I mean, Vettel's not even relevant. The guy finished 12th, and that's all we're going to... Massive spin, by the way, early on, and that's all we're going to say about Vettel.
We agreed just before the race, you cannot put me here. I will make, guess what? You're fucking...
We didn't agree that you'd spin it on your own accord in the fucking lap turn 1, did we? So, that top 3 then was Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas. Leclerc drove a solid race, one stopper, pretty lonely. But he did a better job at holding off Hamilton than Bottas did. In the end, he finished 4th. He said a win. He said 4th felt like a win, so it kind of tells you everything about the Ferrari that you need to know. Albon, like we said, did manage to get 5th place, but probably bare minimum he should be getting. He should have finished 4th.
Yeah.
There's no real excuse for him.
Then Stroll, Hulkenberg getting shafted at 5th.
Yeah, why would they pit Hulkenberg onto the soft tyres that were garbage with 7 laps to go, nowhere near enough time to make it up?
It was Ocon.
Pretty much, they pretty much didn't want Hulkenberg, the replacement driver, to beat you know, Stroll, the son of fucking Lawrence. I would have respected them a bit more if they just said that to Hulkenberg. Look here,
You're not going to be in the
Lance Stroll's actually in the championship here. It's got the 2 points gives him a better chance of finishing higher up. Can you let him through? That I would respect. Do you know what I mean? But I don't even think that's the reason they done it. I think they just done it because it would look bad. The replacement driver coming in and beating the. But we all know that Hulkenberg beat Lance Stroll this weekend. He beat him in qualifying and he had him covered in the race, right?
And the two drivers next year should be Hulkenberg and Perez, but it's going to be Vettel and Stroll.
The two drivers leaving are fucking superior than the two drivers that are going to be there. Well, what an absolute mess.
Next up, Ocon, Norris, and then Kvyat.
I mean, Ocon was solid, but I mean, didn't really do much. Norris, again, didn't do much. Kvyat made a one-stop work, I guess, for a point. Or did he get a point? I don't think he did, actually. I think Kvyat got caught and all that. I don't think he got a point, did he?
Ah, fuck it. All you need to know is Danny Rick bottled it.
Yeah, Danny Rick.
Magnussen's a madman. And the bottom three teams are pish.
Yeah, not even fucking worth mentioning at this stage, are they?
And on that note...
So there you go, Hamilton leads the title by 30 points, and that DNF for Verstappen in the opening race is proven fatal at the moment. Had he not DNF'd, he would have probably won that, so he can add an extra 25 points. Perhaps he would have got the fastest lap, he could add another point, then you take away 2 points, so Hamilton would have finished further down. So the gap between Verstappen and Hamilton could be 2 points if Verstappen didn't DNF in the first race, but ifs and buts and all that shite.
It's Barcelona's up next.
And hopefully there's more tyre temps and blisters and fucking BOTTAS next week, man. Take no prisoners, right? Tell Mercedes, you shafted me last week. This week I'm going to shaft yous and just take Lewis out into turn 1 and then get out the car, take off your gloves, start battering him, put the knee on him, and just that's it. Bye. So anyway, till next time, guys. There you go.
Pedigree.
Pedigree. Till next time, peace.